Welcome. This video is for my students at the JCC, and really it's online, so anybody that chooses to look at this video is welcome to look at it. I would just ask that you find an instructor that you can go to. The energy that exists in the classroom environment is incredibly important to learning and having a practice of yoga. You can practice yoga with intention and safely on your own in any environment. But welcome. This is where I prepare and have my own practice. I prepare for my teaching and I practice. And like I said, this video is intended for my students who desire that in-between class. I can't remember exactly what was said. I can't remember when I inhaled and when I exhaled. So this is completely unscripted, non-professional recording video presentation of just some yoga techniques and yoga practice. My name is Pete. If you come to my class, you know me. So I just want to, as I begin each class, ask if you have an injury somewhere in your body, if you're not feeling well, be kind to yourself. Think about, is practicing today appropriate for my situation? You can practice yoga with injuries and with certain conditions of the body, but you have to be very gentle to your body, and you have to practice in accordance with what a medical professional would advise you to do. Being as I'm not personally there, as you may watch this video, just keep in mind that being gentle to your body is very important. Which leads me into an aspect of yoga that is not always spoken about, and that is the aspect of nonviolence, ahimsa. Ahimsa, nonviolence, most people in the yoga community see as we do not create violence out to another person. We do not create violence out into society or into the world at large. We neglect to think about how much violence do we create in our own body as we move, irrespective of yoga, as we move into the world and we create violence against ourselves, not being kind and not being gentle to our own bodies, creating injury, creating disease, creating illness by ignoring basic tenets of needs of the body: food, water, sleep, warmth, shelter. So if you neglect yourself any of those basics, think about that in yoga. Yoga is really about uniting the body, the mind, and the breath as you come into practice. So creating nonviolence within yourself is not just how it reaches the community or how it reaches someone around you. It's developed inside of you to be nonviolent to your own body. Yoga is also non-competitive. We are not competing against our neighbor who we don't know their background, we don't know their experiences. If you think you can compete against a 23-year-old cheerleader who did gymnastics since she was 5 years old, you're not going to be able to do it physically. You can still have all the mental practice and emotional practice that they have, but your physical body will not look like theirs, nor should it. Your shell is your shell. Your bulk of experience is your bulk of experience, as theirs is, as is completely different from you. So why should you think that you're going to look like that person on the mat next to you or across the room? It's not going to happen. They are not competing against you for how they look. Don't compete against other people. That's not yoga. Yoga is about your body. Yoga is about uniting what's going on in your cranium with what's going on in your breath, what's going on through the body with a spiritual connection. Now, spirituality is different from religion. Yoga is not religious. Yoga is a science. Yoga is an art. Yoga is also a philosophy. So don't confuse yoga with a religious aspect. It's a spiritual practice, it's a physical practice, it's a mental practice. So using movements of your body with the movements of the breath to create a stillness in your mind. So nonviolence, non-competition, and respect. That should, if you have two of those practices, the third will come naturally. Respecting your neighbor, respecting your own body, respecting the instructor. I relish challenges in my instruction. Please, if you see or feel or need to know something, I welcome someone to ask, to challenge that. I may have learned it incorrectly. I may have begun a practice that changed from what it was. And if I don't know and continue to work in that practice, then I won't develop and have my own respect for the practice of yoga. So we come into class, we keep in mind our core concepts of non-competition, non-violence, and showing respect for our neighbors. And we come to class, and hopefully we've remembered one important tool, and that is we brought a sticky mat. Now, a sticky mat, just what it means, it's a mat specifically designed for the practice of yoga. They come in various sizes, they come in many colors, they come in various thicknesses. Find one that suits you. They will range anywhere from $15 upwards of many, many dollars, depending on what you get. I personally like just a plain black mat. Now, if you've had a problem when you unroll it in class, it's been rolled up in your car and you've got this rolled edge, just roll it so that the bottom side, the side that goes to the floor, is rolled in on itself. And then when you come to class and you put it out, that rolled edge will be on the ground. Very simple. Now, a mat is not just a sticky mat, someplace to keep you with traction as you move in and out of your poses. This is a stress-free zone. Now, it's not necessarily a physically stress-free zone. You will create some physical stress in your body, the healthy kind of stress, the kind of stress that helps you to release the mental stress. So this is a mentally stress-free zone, a sacred area, your cubit, so to speak. Sharing a mat, walking into a yoga class and looking for the borrowed mats, it happens to everyone. They will forget their mat. They don't want to miss a class, so they're going to use one of the center's mats. Nothing wrong with that. Keep in mind, has it been cleaned from the person who used it before you? And are you willing to clean that mat for the next person? Respect. If both of those answers are no, keep in mind that you're sharing the bodily secretion and function that existed before you on this mat. People's feet, barefoot, sweat. They may have opened a scab. There could be blood on these. So just keep in mind, hygienically, a mat should be yours. Yours to sweat on, yours to use. If you have a loved one you want to share a mat with, that's fine. But just remember, this is your sacred, stress-free zone. Should be clean, should be well kept. If they do start to deteriorate, replace them. Some people have a badge of honor to wear these things out. I have not been able to wear one out. I don't know if that says anything about my practice, or it's just, I got a decent mat. So coming into class, you want to walk in, you want to find an intention. You want to come into class and you want to clear whatever happened before you arrived. Not such an easy thing to do, which is why oftentimes we get attached to something. Some people get attached to running. They attach and they find it hard to detach, and that's their use to move the body and breath and empty the mind of the stress and challenge, and then they can't disconnect when it's time to step off the mat, move back into the real world, move back and re-interact with people, keeping the concepts of respect, non-violence, non-competition. So coming to the mat, emptying the day's baggage, finding this sanctity of this space and becoming present. We usually start class with an intention. That intention is as simple as, I hope I make it through this class. I hope I can complete all of the movement. I hope I don't lose my breath. I hope I can keep my breath. Some people go as far as to wish their practice to help someone, to energetically move the body and hope to create some energy and give it to someone else. So becoming present, coming to the top of the mat. Some people will actually begin in Savasana. We have begun our class in Savasana. We've begun our class in Child's Pose. We've begun our class in Sukhasana, nice easy sitting pose. We've begun our class in Hero, Thunderbolt, or as simply as standing at the top of the mat. Allowing yourself permission to close your eyes, becoming present, finding your first pose, your Tadasana, your mountain pose, rooting down, lifting the toes. I tell you guys about the four corners of the foot. You have the big toe mound, little toe mound. Back on the calcaneus, you have two little ridges that create that back, kind of a nice narrow-ended rectangle. And as you lift the toes, inhale and move forward, you can feel those 2 points rock side to side on the feet. And as you let the toes come back and you move back into position and the weight distributes evenly, you can feel the back supported. Then the ankle needs to come over top of the foot. So some people will have a rotation of the ankle out or in. You need to find a square foot, nice and even over top. Stacking then, the knee is going to lift. The kneecap is going to lift without locking. The knee is over top the ankle. The hip then needs to move in over top of the knee. Once you have that alignment, you need to bring the shoulder into alignment. Now, as a society, we tend to be very rolled forward with our shoulders. We need to unroll, to stop texting, to stop driving, to stop working at our workstations and allow our shoulders to move backwards, to move down away from our ears, to allow the hands to come down to the side, to release, to move the energy down and away instead of collecting it all day and wondering why we're so tired. Allow that to release, shoulders back and down. Now, the shoulders should be lined up over the hip, over the knee, over the ankle, weight evenly distributed to the front and back of the foot. Now take the chin, it tucks gently as the back of the neck lengthens, as if a marionette string is tied to the top of your head and lifting you up to create length. And as you do that, it lengthens not just the back of the neck, but it lengthens each of the vertebrae to lengthen the whole body. And all that done in one upward breath, so then as you exhale, you have to exhale and let that settle down. Sanshin is what the Japanese call it. It's ending. It's allowing it to move down. Don't collect it up. Your shoulders are moved up at your ears, and now you're holding it up here. And you've got a crazy upward rise of your rib cage. The back curve is accentuated, and you're in a very even more unnatural position. Sanshin, let that relax, let that come down. Tadasana, mountain pose. The Orientals, they have horse pose, wide stance, come in knees bent, arms out at your side. Utkatasana is very similar, but you have to have that sanchin. You have to allow yourself to relax, becoming present. Inhaling, aligning, allowing it to rise. Exhaling, bringing in the sanchin, allowing it to release down. Fingers are open. Hands still have energy. They're not just floppy down at the side. The belly's moving forward. The pelvis is going back. You've come out of alignment. Inhale, reestablish it. Exhale, stack each of the joints one over top of another. So you've made your intention. You've found your presence moving through a very simple exercise, one of the most common of the yoga exercises, sun salutation, a warm-up, a simple exercise for the body. There's a couple of versions of it. I think other people have created new versions. We all do modified versions of this through class. But just to help you guys, when we do a sun salutation, I don't always do them with you anymore because most of you have done them many, many times, and the movement of the body and the breath is becoming synchronized, and you know where you're going next, so that you can prepare your body as you shift the weight, as you move the joints and allow them to move to prepare for the next position. So, Tadasana, inhaling, lifting the chest, restacking, exhaling, finding that sanchin, that release, just let it come down to the ground without collapsing. Inhale, the arms are going to come up. Now as the arms come up, you want a little bit of a back bend. You're going to bring the belly flat, you're inhaling, the rib cage rises. If you find you're somebody that when you come up to here, your shoulders collapse and your elbows open, when you get to about chest level, bring the shoulder blades back towards the back, really plant that humerus into the socket and then lift. And then as you're inhaling, give that back bend, just a little bit of a back arch. Hands are open, still full of energy, not closed. Exhale, you're going to fold forward at the hip. Hip joint is the joint of movement, not a rolled back. Chest is moving towards the ground, ultimately pivoting down in towards the knees. Not everybody's hamstrings are really happy about that. Mine aren't. I have tight hamstrings. I have tight hips. Soften the knees. Most important instruction that you'll get, soften the knees. Now allow the knees to bend, to let the hamstrings not tighten up and stop you. The belly's going to tuck in. You're exhaling, belly comes to the spine as you're reaching down to the ground. Exhale down, you've gotten to the ground. Now you're going to inhale one more time, and you're going to come to that flat back. Spine from the buttocks to the top of the head should lengthen. You may still have to keep your soft knees. You may not be able to straighten the knees and get that extension. So let the knees soften. Don't create that violence. This is where you're going to feel it. So you've inhaled to here. You're going to exhale. The hands are going to come down to the ground. Now this is the very beginning of class. You're going to step one leg back and let the knee come to the ground. You're then going to step the other leg back. Let the knee come to the ground. Very gentle. Now once you came to here, you were exhaling this entire time. Now you're going to exhale once more. The chest and the chin are going to come to the ground, and then when you inhale, you're going to push the pelvis down. Chest is going to move forward for a cobra. So you're exhaling, coming down. The buttocks is still up. Inhale, let that come down for a cobra. Exhale, roll the feet over, push back for a nice down dog. Your first down dog, probably not going to be your most wonderful. Pedal the hips, inhaling 5 breaths as you're moving the hips, allowing some openness to come in. And then Once your 5th breath cycles, you're ready to inhale. You're going to start to walk the feet towards the hands and come right back to flat back. Knees still soft. If you need, the back is flat. Hands maybe at your shins, on your thighs, where they need to be. You inhale to this point, you're going to exhale. The hands are going to come to the ground. Knees are going to soften. Protect your hamstrings. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Find the ceiling. Hands are open. Little arch. Exhale. Hands can either come down to Tadasana, or you can Samastitihi with the thumbs against the breastbone, checking in with the heart. That little bit of work may have created, depending on your level of fitness, if you breath held through the process or spoke through the process, you may find a little bit more work and a little bit more enthusiasm of the heart as it's beating out, and you're feeling that communicated through the breastbone into the thumbs with an awareness, building an awareness. So just a very simple movement. You can do that at any point during the day, finding your non-stress-free zone, moving into all of those positions a couple times a day, beginning exercise, and just allow yourself that action. So next we'll go through the second of the sun salutations, the flow, the Surya Namaskar, and I'll see you guys for